Morning, everybody. 8:25 a.m., March 16th. It looks like Credit Suisse getting bailed out by the Swiss National Bank. So, another bailout. Um, Market's kind of status quo, I would say. We got jobless claims coming out at 8:30. Um, let's look at the watch list here. We got Bitcoin's up 1.69%. The VIX is up 1.34. Bonds are being bought. Let's see, Nasdaq's up 0.3. Crude's flat. ES is flat. The Dow is slightly down 0.11%. Dollar is down slightly. Russell's down 0.47. 10-year yield is down 1.6%. What do we got as leaguers? We got Coin up 2.4, Meta up 1.5, followed by Netflix almost up a percent pre-market. Is there a laggard? Not really. Boeing's the only one that's negative, but it's barely negative. Qualcomm got an upgrade, so that's up 1.48%. Any laggards there are just Chevron and Exxon, and sectors leaders at communications at 0.28, which is not that strong. Uh, Laggards, energy is at the bottom of the list, followed by real estate. Um, what else? So we got that news dropping. So let's look at the Fed watch tool real quick. So many things changing with this, but now there's a 76% chance we're expecting a 25 point basis rate hike. Still 76% chance next Wednesday. That's on the table. Um, Now this chart is showing here. You notice here in this list here, the hike percentage is a 0% chance they're pricing in for July. So it's very interesting. We have to see if that what comes. This changes all the time, but currently we're looking at a 25% basis rate hike. That just literally changed. That was at 76%. Now it's at 67. See how it changes all the time. So that's that. Let's look at some economic calendar here. We have building permits, housing starts, initial jobless claims, Philly Fed, manufacturing, Philly Fed employment. We have it in 1 minute. Well, close to 2 minutes. In the meantime, we could look at some news. Um, it looks like Adobe had a nice earnings beat. They got an upgrade. Amazon, JP Morgan cuts target price to 135 from 142. Lennar raises target price from 120 to 116. They just had earnings. What else here? There's something about Microsoft. They have some kind of meeting coming up. And that's about it. Let's go back to this news. Let's see what can drop here. What the initial jobless claims. I don't expect much unless it's like a crazy number. We're expecting a forecast of 205. So bullish for the market would be under, bearish for above. So I got about 30 seconds left for that. And it's clear you can see a big divergence in the Nasdaq and the ES. ES has financials, right, which is weak, which has a bunch of other sectors other than tech. So you can see it's just a tale of two different markets there. Really a tale of two different markets. So got 5 seconds here before this drops. I'm not sure what it's going to actually do. Oh, there we go. Dropped. And what did we do? Jobless claims. That didn't update yet. Come on. All right, under. I'm telling you, um, under. So very interesting. Let's see the Philly Fed. That should have been already. Oh, I don't know why it's not updating. Let's see. Let's get that. They should update real time. So I'm gonna refresh it. All right. Well, I don't think the market's. Yeah, the market's like flat. I don't think that did anything. All right, let's get into the daily charts here. Let's look at the SPY, right? Let's look at our anchored VWAPs on here. Yesterday we came down from this day, made a new low, not a new swing low, but a new low. Then that was bought up towards the end of the day. We closed pretty much at the highs, and we're in this little range here. Okay, still underneath 100-day moving average, 200-day moving average, anchor VWAP from the lows, 9 daily EMA. So we're under that, and right now currently we're at 388. So we're like around here. Yesterday's high is around. So we have to see. It's basically we're flat. All right, let's look at those Qs. I can slap the Qs anchored VWAP on here. Let's do that. Qs you can see are stronger, right? Because we made this move up, we only retraced 50%, bounced off, and now we had 2 days that are in a range, right? And yesterday we hit this resistance at the 298 level, the anchored VWAP from the all-time highs. See that anchored VWAP's right on top of this. So and this 298 level is a pretty good resistance with this trend line. So this trend line's been resistant too. So the Qs are just right now. The Qs are at 299. So the Qs are actually about up. They're a little above yesterday's highs. So I have to see what happens with that because they're just strong, stronger than the obviously the S&P, right? Have to really see what's gonna go on with that. All right, let's look at the Dow. Dow broke these lows, but then came right back up to the previous these lows over here. Currently, a little the Dow is down 0.13%. So this level 316 has been support. So have to see what the Dow does with that. And the good old Russell, or the Russell's the weakest out of right now. This 171 level is a key support level. It kind of dipped below it, rose up one day, came right back down yesterday, made a new low, but then closed at the highs, right? But right now the Russell's at 172.84, so it's like around right here. So with all this read your own bank weakness, financials like the Russell's been hammered. So let's go over to our friend, the triple-headed monster, which is the 10-year yield first. 10-year yield is really holding on to the support of 3.4. Have to really see what transpires there. If this falls, better be very interesting on what's going to happen. Because people are buying bonds now, they're being scared. So very interesting what would happen. Um, let's look at the VIX. The VIX is holding up in these highs. We're at 26.5 right now. So we've whipped up this day whipped up here above 20 and a half. This day, not this day, but yesterday, and then today we closed here, so we're above today. We're about right here. Oh, expect some volatility in the dollar. The dollar was moving higher, moved down, kind of settled at the 50-day moving average, and then now we're just kind of like rocking around 104. So have to see what that brings. Okay. Let's move on to the market profile. Just give me a sec. All right, we're just gonna start off where we are now. Okay, so this DES, we're at 39.20. Price is right here, right at the close of yesterday. So pretty much flat. You can see we moved higher. Overnight's overnight high. Here's the overnight low. Here's yesterday's high. Yesterday's low. Price is in the middle. Not in the middle. Well, in yesterday's range, right? Yesterday's range. We are above the most traded price of the week, which is 3,900. Well, 39. I'm sorry. That's the 24 hour. Let's see here. It's around 38.93 about most traded price of the week in the real time trading hours. Okay. So that's short term. That's short term, little short term bullish because that's the most traded price of the week. So if you're above that, buyers have a little bit of control. And also, yesterday's most traded price was right here. So you're holding above those levels, right? But, talk about the 39.71 resistance level up here. That still has not been broken, right? From this move up here to down here, we still haven't broken the 61.8 retracement either. So, it's the Nasdaq needs to get some weakness for really the ES to fall out of bed. I mean, that's really holding up the market, the Nasdaq. So today, what are we going to look at today? So it's all about this overhead supply here with that resistance level, and you have weak lows here, okay, and a demand zone below us. That's really it for me. I mean, those are the outside in trades, right? So quickly, all you really could be for myself, there is a supply zone here, but the stronger one's up here, right, with that resistance that has not been broken yet. So if you were going to short, I would say the highest probability would be if we work our way up, probably hit some resistance in the supply, move our way up. 9 daily EMA is there, and you got two supply zones up here. So I really see what we do with this. And if you start to get weak, right, in this with this high volatility, you could definitely start to come back down, and you target the most traded price. Okay, so that's one higher probability short. Okay, that's probably the one I'll be watching. Okay, the other one is if we come down, push up into this supply, right? I mean, and you could take that as well, but I would wait for the other one. But really, what I want to see is bearish is if we can come below this most traded price of the week, and then start to, find acceptance below it, try to go above it, and then if it can't and you do, then you short that. Target the lows from yesterday and be mindful of this demand zone. Now this is a used demand zone. You can see it was used here. So that makes it a little weaker. So we could hit the bottom of the zone. Okay. One other thing for a long. All right, let's talk long that you have to look at. So like I said, this is kind of the little line in the sand for who shows the strength, right? You want the market to tell you. So right now the market's holding above the most traded price of the week. Okay, so then in the little short term, it's bullish for that. Okay, macro we're not, but mini, if you're looking at just who's showing a little bit of strength right now, we're holding above this, right? So what I would say is your best bet for a long is if we do this, if we come down here, either bounce off it or try to go below it, can't, reverse above it. Okay, that's a long. Then you target this supply zone. Then you go for those 39.71 resistance and supply up here. Okay, now if you want to wait, now the only thing about this long is you have this much straighter price here, so it's not as great of a setup. But if you were to come back down here, right, you start to break these lows here, but then you have demand, and let's say we just try to get, you start making lower highs, then you got to go long, target here, and then hold the runner on to see if you can make a move back up. Now if you're a conservative long, which you could wait for, is you could wait for this, go through here, break the 39.71, which is the monster resistance level, break it, try to go a little higher, come back down, then you start holding and holding, then you might want to go long there. Now above us we have some single prints in this. I actually should put them on my chart. I really should. I'm gonna actually put them here. There's single prints all the way here. Just so I know they're there. So there's emotional selling from this one day over here. Okay, you can see it right here, these singles. So I just marked them off. So that will really tell the time, because if you get some really good volume and the Nasdaq's pushing hard, you definitely can clean these singles and move us back up, and the most traded price of the month's up here at 40.20. So those are what I'm looking at in the ES. Okay, Nasdaq, you can see a different story when I go to it. I mean, look at that, so different. So different. I mean, you have well, let's just look at the real-time trading hours for a sec, just to see what we've been doing. Now we didn't make all lower highs here, so, but you got a low here, higher low here, but then we broke that low yesterday. But then look, shot right above the monster level, right? Here's that monster level, and we went above, closed at the highs, right, yesterday, with all big key levels in this area again. So see how the Nasdaq's showing strength. So let's look at what we're doing now. Now the Nasdaq just got some weakness right now. It's actually turning negative, just turned negative. Okay. And let's look. So Nasdaq got a high of 124.65, overnight high here, right? Yesterday's high, yesterday's low. So now the Nasdaq's starting to pull into range. Okay, you got a nice perfect bell curve in the overnight. And you do kind of have a spike here, right here. Which, if I talk about spike rules, it means that if we stay within this spike, that's bullish. If we drop below the spike, then you know sellers are a little weaker, right? So then there's overhead supply here in the Nasdaq. Okay, there's a couple zones, one here and one here. Okay, you have a naked VPOC right here that hasn't been tested. You only hit that in the real-time trading hours. Doesn't matter that you hit it overnight. But this is a very complete profile. See, so whoever was long up here just took profit, just got stopped out. See, you're getting this excess. We moved all the way down to here in the overnight low. Now, if it keeps moving down, like I said, that's going to be bearish, right? And then you got to look at the big monster level, right? This big monster level. So look at the volume from yesterday. It all was concentrated in this monster level, right? No surprise. So, but check it out. Everyone's long up here. So what we're going to look at today is pretty simple. The big level. This big monster level tells you what to do today. It's pretty simple. Okay. So right in here, this level in here is your tipping point. It's your tipping point. So if we're going to talk about a short, one or two things you could do. Okay. If we manage to open here and push back up, and there's this is all supply, and let's say we take the overnight high but we can't go any higher, and you start to get weakness, right? That could be wait for a lower high to be put in, and then you could take a short, and you take out a lot of the longs from yesterday, right? And then I would target this big monster level. Okay, I would not want to hold. You could hold the runner, but this is just going to cause chop in here. This is just chop city. Okay, so now if you want to look long, okay, I wouldn't want to be long up here, right? Use this level, right? So if we could, if the market sold off, but we held these monster level, right? We couldn't really do anything. You start making lower highs, market gets stronger, and then you might go long. Now target the top, this supply zone. Target this naked VBOC if you wanted to, because I'm using this monster level, right? Same thing on the other side of it. So if we opened and we made our way through this level and held it, one attempt, and you can short, get ready to take profit. There's a demand zone right here, so that's probably not even the best short here, because you go right into a demand zone which could pop right up, right? So I actually don't like that as much. Now let's look at a long. The long you could do is if we did come down past this level, right? But then we didn't find too much time below it and you went through it, then you can go long as well. Another one is coming down. Let's say we do break this level, hit demand, which is also yesterday's low, and see what we do in this demand zone. All right, but the only thing about this is you got this. Just look at this like a wall, like a China wall. You want to be doing something on the one side of it or the other side of it. So It's just tough, right? The better demand zone is probably down here if we sell off, just because you have room away from this big monster level. So that's what I'm looking at today. Okay. Remember, Nasdaq's been stronger, but right now Nasdaq is a little weaker, but it's holding the spike, right? So let's look at the ES. The ES doesn't really have a spike per se, but the ES is at the lows, right? It's down 0.33. So remember, this is the tipping point here for the ES. So let's look at crude, right? Let's look at what crude's doing. So as far as crude goes, what I'm looking for is see this profile, composite profile, right? Most share price of the week is right here. That is 72.90. It's right here. Okay? But this is the perfect example of the profile what you like to see. This is building out volume. This price right here could definitely move lower to the most traded price of the week. And once you do that, if you put that in, that most times means that prices are going to go lower. And then you have a nice little note here too. So I'm really looking at that in crude because see the volume thinned out here, but volume starting to build here. Okay, and then eventually the profile might look like something like this in the week. And if it looks like this, you're probably going to get more excess. Okay, so it's just building. It's accepting these lower prices, right? That's what the market's doing. It's accepting the lower prices. And we have this big gap, which I have on the chart here, that's held. So that's bearish. So what do we have here? Now we have a high and a low from yesterday. We have the overnight high and the overnight low. We're right inside yesterday. Not a lot to read from that at all. Look at this bell curve. Beautiful. All right, so that's balance. That's just balance. You're in the middle of this range. It's very hard to read, right? So the only things that I could see is, maybe move that most traded price of the week down to here. And then the only thing I could really see is if it's something like if it came down and that price did move here and then we come back up to it and we can't fight it, then you can maybe possibly look for a little short. But crude right now is not I don't really like what I'm seeing too much. Right around the most traded price of yesterday, inside of yesterday, it's really not a good read. It's not it's not something I'm like excited about at all. So let's just look at these charts. One of my favorite charts to look at, right? And let's just see where we're at. So you can see in the ES, right? Here's what month is this? January. This is January's low, February's low, and this is March low. So you can see that we came down to January's low right here. So you can see where the ES is right now. What can also you see? Most traded price of this year and the rolling year is right here. That price is 40.23. We are below that in the ES. See how we came from here, we moved from balance, and now we're in this balance. So we're at a pivotal point right now in the ES. We're at a really pivotal point below this monster level, right? Let's look at the Nasdaq. Nasdaq's a different story. You'll notice it right away. Here's the monster level in the Nasdaq. Most traded price of the year, most traded price of the rolling year. What is that price? 122.21. But notice the Nasdaq is above that price. So see how the difference in the markets? The ES I just showed you matched January's lows. Look at January's lows here. It's here. The ES just made the lows from January. Nasdaq is up here above the most traded price of the year and the most traded price of the rolling year. So just a tale of two different markets, right? So it's very interesting. So that monster level we talk about is the tipping point for the Nasdaq. If the Nasdaq moves under this, ES is going to go down, break those lows. Okay, but this low was put in, but look at the Nasdaq just pushed up higher. So that's why it's very choppy in this area for the Nasdaq. That's why I said don't do business in here. You want to do it above it or below it. You don't want to do it in here. That's just chop city. Okay. And this wants to give you perspective on the Russell. The Russell really got hammered because of the regional banks. So the Russell also has a monster level here. It's around 1916, right? Most traded price of the rolling year, most traded price of this year. And look what happened from that level. Boom. All the way down. And they actually broke January's lows. Where's price now? Right here. That's weakness. All right. So that will be it for me. Hope you took something from what I'm saying today. Got those levels. Give me a comment, like, or subscribe. Of course, ask any questions if you have them. Stay patient, stay green. Hopefully, everybody makes money. And I will update if I see something. Full transparency. I actually did have. What did I do yesterday? Let me see. Yesterday, I took a pairs trade. I went. I didn't. I was gonna put a video about this, but I went long gold, short MES. That was a nice. That was a nice pair trade. What else did I do? I shorted Meta early on. That was a good setup. And then I shorted Nvidia pretty much at the highs yesterday, and that was a nice trade. I also put a credit spread on Goldman Sachs. I don't love my location. I was battling over a put ratio, which was probably the smarter play. So if I get more weakness in Goldman Sachs today, I will probably add that. But I have a call credit spread in Goldman Sachs at 340, 350. That's above a key support level and the 200-day moving average. So I got almost like 50 cents credit for it. But we have to see. I regret I should have waited for the pop, and that would have been a better play. But we'll have to see. I could always roll it, whatever. But that's it for me, and I'll see you guys tomorrow if I don't do an update. All right, take it easy.